It was the 17th of March 2011, when police in Sacramento, California, received a distraught phone call from 29-year-old Kaya Young informing them that there had been a tragic accident at her home. When paramedics arrived at the scene, they found the lifeless body of 6-week-old Mirabel Taulo. She was suffering from facial injuries, and according to Young, she had been holding her daughter in her arms when she had a seizure and dropped her. She claimed that when she awoke, she found her daughter next to a space heater. Suspicion immediately fell onto Young, and paramedics would alert the police. Mirabel was suffering from extremely deep tissue burns as well as fourth-degree burns, and her injuries did not quite correlate with what Young was claiming had happened. However, since investigators weren't sure what had transpired, there was not enough evidence for an arrest. Nevertheless, Young's 3 other children, all under the age of 7, were removed from her care. 3 months after the death, Young was arrested and charged with her daughter's murder. According to Officer Laura Peck, the arrest had taken such a long time because police needed to pinpoint how exactly the injuries had been inflicted. During their investigation, they had compared the injuries to injuries sustained in other similar cases of children who had died, including children who had been burned in a microwave. Investigators had reached the conclusion that Young had placed her baby daughter in the microwave. An autopsy had showed that she had extensive thermal injuries, and it was these injuries which had ultimately caused her death. Following Young's arrest, it would be revealed that when police came to her home immediately after Mirabel's death, she had suggested that she was suffering from a split personality and that a pacifier was found in the microwave. Prosecutors would charge her with 1 count of murder with the special circumstance that the killing was intentional and involved torture. This meant that if she were found guilty, she would be eligible for the death penalty. Just a month after the arrest, it was revealed that Young, who was behind bars, was pregnant. Meanwhile, the Sacramento District Attorney announced that they would not be seeking the death penalty against Young and instead would be seeking life without parole. They said her lack of a criminal background as well as other things had led to their decision. In February of the following year, it was announced that Young would be standing trial. Furthermore, Judge Eugene Ballanon found that there was enough evidence to support a special allegation that Young had tortured her daughter. During the hearing to announce the update, the pathologist who conducted the autopsy disclosed that the microwave had essentially cooked Mirabel's stomach and small intestine, which amounted to torture. According to Young's defense lawyer, Linda Parisi, Young had suffered from seizures that went back at least 7 years. She and the prosecution got into a sparring match regarding the capabilities of a person in the middle of a seizure. According to investigators, Young had told them she had no recollection of placing Mirabel in the microwave and that she had suffered from a seizure. "I see a white flash, I see trees, then I have a seizure," she had reported. While it was true that Young had suffered from seizures, the difficult part for the jury was going to be determining whether these seizures had a part to play in the death of her daughter. Her defense team was alleging that she had placed Mirabel in the microwave while in the middle of a seizure and therefore was not criminally responsible for her death. The trial began in November of 2015, and prosecutors would reveal that Young had placed her daughter in the microwave for anywhere between 2.5 minutes and 5 minutes. She had suffered burns covering 60% of her body, including radiation burns which had penetrated her internal organs. They argued that Young did not have a seizure that day and that she had repeatedly lied to investigators about what had caused her daughter's death, and that when they arrived at the scene, she did not appear to be disorientated. Yang's defense would stick to their theory that Yang had put her daughter in the microwave while in a post-seizure state of unconsciousness known as the postictal stage. The jury would ultimately reject the defense's claims and would find Ka Yang guilty of the murder of Mirabel Taulo. She would be sentenced to 26 years to life in prison.